I couldn't imagine being at work one day, sitting behind my desk, working on Excel spreadsheets, and all of a sudden, I'm standing at heaven's gates, looking at my dead corpse sitting at my cubicle. And not only that, I'm not found until 4 days later, inside my workplace.
A Tempe Wells Fargo employee died at her desk. And 12 News is now confirming that it may have taken as many as 4 days for anyone in the office to notice.
There was a woman who worked for Wells Fargo, and apparently at the location she worked at, most people work remotely, but there's still people who work at the actual building itself. She passed away at work behind her cubicle, or I guess in her cubicle, and no one stumbled upon her until about 4 days later. Apparently people could smell the rotting corpse, which is crazy. Apparently they all thought that it was just, some bad plumbing or pipes or whatever. Even after she was found, it's been 4 days. No one called to check and see where she was. No one knew she was missing. Her own co-workers didn't even realize. It's really sad. I couldn't imagine being that person and dying alone like that. Or I guess really not alone, because there were people all around her. She didn't technically die alone, but she kind of did. No one was looking for her. I feel like people don't really check on people anymore. I'm not exempt from this. I feel as though everyone is so caught up in their own bubble that we call life. The topic, the story, just kind of made me realize how prevalent that problem is. No one knew she was gone. And don't get me wrong, at my job, my coworkers were cool, we're friendly. Sometimes we might go out together and have a drink. Someone might have a birthday that we're celebrating. People have work friends, they have their actual friends. And this is definitely an example of work friends because, well, I guess even then, might not have had work friends either, really. Even so, I just can't believe that no one checked on her, especially with like management and higher up positions. Do you not do like your rounds, or did she not need someone to supervise her? Was she her own boss? Like, how does that go unnoticed? These companies and your workplace, they don't really give a fuck about you, and your coworkers are in the same position as you and they're just trying to get through the day. I'm not blaming them for not knowing, but it doesn't make it any less messed up. Condolences to her family. I don't know if she has much family, considering she was missing for 4 days, and that's no offense to them if she does have family. Maybe that was just typical behavior from her. She was a workaholic, I don't know. But at some point she had to come home, right? Like, for me personally, the first day would have been like a red flag. No one stays overnight at work. The building has to close at some point. They also said that this building in particular has 24/7 security, so security didn't notice. Not trying to ruin anyone's day, but they probably shouldn't be working there really if they couldn't notice someone in the building. Isn't that their job? You're there to make sure that nothing's afoot. It definitely hit me a little bit when I heard this one. I recently reconnected with a lot of old friends, and it just made me kind of think to myself, man, like, yeah, these are people in my life that I care about, and I would like to say they care about me as well. And we don't talk as much as we should. Sometimes years go by, months. So crazy how we just are so locked in on our own lives and what we have going on. I mean, I guess everyone's the main character of their own story, but I can't say that if it were me, I would have noticed. I can't say that. I can't speak about that because I wouldn't know. I've never been in that situation. They said her cubicle wasn't even on the main walkway or in the main area. It was kind of off to the side, which is still, I don't think that's an excuse, but I feel really bad for her though. It's a really terrible situation for you to be sitting at heaven's gates looking down to see that you weren't even found until 4 days later. A lot of the employees are kind of freaked out about this whole situation. They want new rules and regulations in place for things like this. They're calling it negligence, which, I mean, that's very fair.
Body was there about 4 days before anybody found it, before anybody walked up to her and just to say hi, make sure she's okay. She was just laying on her desk.
I just don't really understand how a manager or supervisor or whatever couldn't have noticed. Even the security, how do you not notice? Your employee's been clocked in for 4 days straight. Did she forget to clock out? Oh, let me just go ahead and clock her out myself. Anytime I stay clocked in at my job and I forget to clock out, my manager comes to me the next day and she'll be like, hey, you forgot to clock out, but it's okay, I clocked you out. It's just a really sad story and definitely a wake-up call for me. You always hear that life is short, but to go out like that is just depressing, I would say. And it makes me want to do better as a person as far as connecting with people and checking in. I think I could do better with that for sure. It's just a reminder really that we all need to check in on each other every once in a while. Make sure your friends are doing okay. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them. Just make sure you get everything out that you need to while you can, because you never know when you won't be able to.
It just made me sad. Like, it's just a really awful thing to see. And it serves as a rough reminder that corporations really do not care about you. They are not your friends. They are certainly not your family. And they are absolutely not looking out for your best interests. They barely know you exist.
Say getting all like nah. Draco shoot that bitch like Baba. Run with that bitch and knock him off. I be so damn I'm not know.